production that will be taking place at the Market Theatre in Johannesburg. It follows the love story of Napo and Mimi. The lovers, through the Easter Sunday sermon, return on the anniversary of their death to make the father reckon with the past, present and a crucifixion he must account for. The altar is a cross and the subconscious, a room where the dead seek justice for a sin committed by their perpetrators. The audiences are drawn into the story of young people who are punished for the love that they choose. The play is a continuation and an adaptation of a poem of the same name published in 2017 by Koleka Putuma. Well, to tell us more, we are joined in studio by the director, Mwenya Kabwe, and playwright Koleka Putuma. Ladies, it's great to have you here in studio. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Koleka, I really want to start with you. I mean, as the writer of this production, tell us why it was so important for you to tell the story, specifically because we look at the subject of homophobia, and it's one that is widely spoken about on radio shows, on TV shows. It's a subject that's continuously being interrogated, but it doesn't seem that that is even enough.
Well, the play kind of started as a poem that was addressed to my father, who is a preacher. And it was important at that time to kind of write that poem and then to adapt it into a play that looked at the more the relationships that kind of impact queer life the most, which is our most intimate relationships, the relationships that we have with our family, our communities, and our churches and so on. And so there's a lot of conversations and things that kind of look at homophobia and look at hate crimes from a society point of view, but not a lot of conversation around like the intimate relationships that we have with people and how that kind of impacts queer life and hate crimes. And
do you often find that people will use religion to justify their hate or their violence towards queer people, whether it's violence in the physical form or emotional, it's violence nonetheless? And did you find that with your father?
I mean, absolutely. I think one of the things that play a huge role in the way that lesbians or gay people are kind of looked at and perceived is religion, or religious communities. And because a lot of particularly black people kind of have a faith that rejects that kind of life, it does impact the way that society receives or kind of like rejects queer love or queer life. So yeah.
Mwenya, let's talk about your role as director and how you got involved in this production.
I was invited.
And tell us just what it's been like for you. I mean, this is a story for everybody. A story not for just queer people, but a story for a society that is sick, a society that is slow to accept, and a society that will find so many ways of curing what is wrong instead of being open and accepting.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's been a really interesting process from the beginning. It's a play that has been written by a poet. So the text is poetic, and I felt very strongly that the production as a whole needed to honor the poetry of the text. So we have an incredible projection designer, fabulous Nikki Pilkington's our projection designer, Nolutando Lobese has done our costumes and our set. And Hlanhla Mahlangu was our music director, and all of those aspects for me felt like it was really important that they all carried the poetry that is clearly evident in the writing. So it's been a really interesting process to put these amazingly full components together with the writing, so that there isn't a hierarchy per se. Sometimes with a traditional play, the idea is to serve the text in a kind of formulaic way. And considering this is a poetic text, let alone considering the subject matter and the questions about how to represent violence anyway, but particularly violence towards queer people, violence in a society that is quite desensitized to images of violence in the first place. Yeah, it's been a really interesting project to kind of see the pieces and see how the pieces can cohere in a way that is visually interesting and that is...
Speaking of those pieces, bring us a little bit into the cast. Who are they?
They're fantastic.
Yes.
The team is fantastic. I'm so thrilled every day to be in rehearsal with the people I'm in the room with. Momo Matsunyane plays Napo, the daughter of the priest, priest is played by Lunga Radebe, and Tseko Kotsone plays Mimi, Napo's lover. And then we have a huge, fabulous chorus. So 2 main chorus members are Kanisile Ngwabe and Tumeka Matintela. And then we have an ensemble of 22 from the Market Theatre Lab. So the core cast is quite small, but I really heard, as soon as I read it, I heard music. And I heard live music, and I heard live church music, and I heard many voices. So we have fortunately been very blessed with the talents of the Market Theatre Laboratory, and they make up the bulk of the chorus.
All right. Koleka, just to wrap it up with you, lately I'm having a lot of conversations with people about tolerating queer people and actually accepting them, and that there is a huge gap that exists. You know, tolerating does not automatically mean acceptance. What is your hope for queer people going forward in this country?
That certain conversations are normalized, that we don't have to have the same kind of conversations all the time, and the same kind of begging and asking for our lives and our safety and our love to kind of be normalized or kind of be seen as this thing that has to be treated in a special way, so that we can kind of be a part of society like everybody else, and our safety can be valued like everybody else, and
automatically
lives.
so.
Yeah, like
automatic.
it mustn't even be a thing that must be like thunk about. It must just be,
instinctively just done as it should, because we're all human to start off with before we're anything else.
Exactly.
Ladies, it's great to have you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank
all the
you.
best and well done on this poem-turned-production.
Thank you.
That was Koleka Putuma and Mwenya Kabwe talking to us about No Easter Sunday for Queers, which is set to open at the Market Theatre this week. Of course, it's all about educating our society to be accepting, to protecting queer people, and also to just put an end to the killings that we've seen decades and decades over and over again of queer people. Time for a quick break. Do stay with us.